Hey, so you have to write a literature review. And right now, it probably feels like you've been told to build a library before you have even learned how to stack a few books. It's overwhelming. And the first question is, where do you even start? How do you find the papers? And how do you turn a pile of summaries into something that actually feels important? Well, today we are going to fix that. I'm going to walk you through a step by step process that will transform this massive undertaking from a nightmare into a manageable, probably even enjoyable project. Let's focus on being practical, efficient, and most importantly, creating something with real insight. So let's use a relatable example throughout this video. A topic, mental health among youth. This is a big and important topic that everybody can understand, and it's perfect for showing you how to narrow down and craft a powerful story. So grab a notebook, a pen, or whatever, and let's dive in. Here are the 5 steps to writing a brilliant literature review. The first step is to find your micro topic. And this is where most people mistake a lot of things. They make a lot of mistakes in this section. They choose a topic that is way too broad. For example, mental health among youth. This is a great area of interest, but it's a terrible literature review topic. A quick search on this will give you tens of thousands of papers, and you'll be lost forever searching for the right one. So your goal is to find a micro topic. Think of it as a specific focus discussion happening with that big noisy room. How do you find it? First, get some research experience. This might not be what you want to hear, but you definitely need some research experience. Either read other people's research or know what goes into doing a research. Basically, you can't tell the story of a field if you've never been in it. So if you are diving into mental health, try to surround yourself with some knowledge of mental health. So once you've done a small project or read deeply in your area, you start to see certain specific gaps and conversations. Then start adding keywords to your broad topic to make it smaller and more specific or focused. So let's try with our example, the mental health among youth. That is a too broad of a topic, right? So we can make it better, like social media and youth mental health. You've seen how we've narrowed it down now. This is better, but it's quite huge still. Then we can do something like the impact of Instagram. We've moved from social media to Instagram on body image in teenage girls. And body image has also replaced mental health here. But it's still something that we can do better with. So the final might be the role of Instagram fitness content on anxiety and disordered eating in girls aged 16 to 18. And to even do better, you can even focus on the local region that you are, the geography. So you can say the role of Instagram fitness content on anxiety and disordered eating in girls aged 16 to 18 in Namibia, a specific part of Namibia. And this is a very excellent way that we've specified our topic now. Why is this excellent? It is specific. It is contemporary. And importantly, when you search for academic papers on this, you might find that there are only 8, 10, or 15 that are truly relevant and high quality studies. Keep the term high quality studies. That is your sweet spot. A literature review with 6 to 12 strong core papers is a very powerful, publishable piece of work. And you can do a lot of justice without drowning. So that is the first step. And then moving on, the second step is where you hunt for core papers. You hunt for your core papers, but don't be a perfectionist. So now that you know what you're looking for, it's time to gather your evidence. And this is a modern world now, so you can use a lot of multiple tools to your advantage. Google Scholar might be your starting point, or Semantic Scholar. So you type in your specific keywords, Instagram, fitness contents, Instagram, fitness, disordered eating, then adolescents. So you look at the top 20 results based on the relevancy. So the titles and abstracts will tell you instantly if these articles that have popped up in the search results belong in your study. And you see a point where the results become less and less relevant. And that is where you need to stop. That is your signal to stop. That is your stopping point. You can also use AI tools like Elicit. Elicit is a game changer, unlike ChatGPT, which invents references. Elicit uses real research databases. So you can pose a question like, does exposure to fitness content on Instagram increase anxiety and depression in teenage girls? It will actually find actual papers, summarize them, and even extract details like the interventions used or the outcomes measured. And then one other important tool is Research Rabbit. Research Rabbit is, think of it like Spotify for papers. You can input a key few papers that you have found, and it will visually map out the research network. It will show you the most connected and seminal works so you don't miss any key player. So you upload the key papers that you have found, then it will search and find a research network of other important papers. And here's the critical mindset shift in this step. You are not trying to find every single paper ever written. Again, you are not trying to find every single paper ever written. Your goal is to find enough papers to tell a compelling and accurate story. If you obsess over finding that one missing study, you'll definitely be stuck in a search mode forever. So find the core papers that clearly define the conversation and then move on. Don't be a perfectionist. Then the next step, step 3, organize the story and not the summaries. So by now you have your stack of PDFs that you've downloaded. And the worst thing you can do now is to start writing one paragraph summaries of each. No. This leads to a shopping list review that bores everyone. Don't do a shopping list review. Instead, you need to organize them to find a story. So how did the field of study here evolve? How did the topic area of interest evolve? What are the major themes and debates? For a narrative review, reviews that are done narratively, there are different approaches that you can use. I recommend a thematic and chronological approach. So with a thematic approach, you arrange the findings that you've gotten from each paper according to themes or common findings. So you identify the major theme, you read through your core papers and ask yourself, what are the big ideas here? In our fitness example, the themes might be something like maybe the link between the ideal image and body dissatisfaction among the adolescents. The other theme can also be the specific role of fitness content and eating disorder in the communities. You can also have something like, can media literacy programs reduce the harm? So once you've picked out the studies based on how related they are or the certain common findings that you found, you can organize those themes chronologically. And what do I mean by that? Chronologically refers to time. So under each particular theme, look at the order of the papers. For example, maybe you might find that early studies like studies from 2010 to 2015 have probably identified the first relationship between social media use and body image. Then continuing studies probably from 2016 to 2018 use more sophisticated methods to establish correlation between these two variables. Then most recent studies, probably from 2019 to present, also explore specific platform features like algorithms of TikTok, algorithm of Instagram, and something like endless scrolling. So your structure, this structure, thematic headings with a chronological flow, immediately creates a narrative. It shows how understanding about this particular topic of interest has evolved or changed over time. Then step 4, talk before you type. Don't just go around typing your literature review. Communicate your story. This is the secret step most people try to skip. Do not start writing yet. Your brain is not yet wired to tell the story. At that point, it is wired to recall facts that you've read or you've noticed. So you need to rewire your brain. You can find a colleague, a friend, or even your pets and explain the story of your literature review out loud. Use your own words to explain the literature review out loud. For example, you can say something like, so researchers first noticed that teenage girls who spent a lot of time on Instagram had higher rates of body dissatisfaction. They thought it was just about seeing perfect bodies, but then they dug deeper and found that these fitness communities, which were even more toxic because they disguise unhealthy habits as wellness. So the field shifted from just observing the problem to trying to understand these specific subcultures, something like that. You see what I've done there? So in this example I've given, I didn't mention a single artist name or specific study. I told a story. So what I did here was I synthesized the information and I've identified the momentum of the field and the current gap. If you're able to do this, your writing becomes very, very easy because you are just transcribing a story you already know by heart. And the fifth step, that is write the paper. And this should be the easy part now. Finally, we are going to write. Because of the previous steps, this is just about putting the polished version on paper. So you first start with an introduction. Think of it as the first 15 minutes of a movie. What does your audience absolutely need to know to understand your story? For example, they need to know why or what is fitness content, right? They also need to know why is this adolescent mental health particularly vulnerable? Why is Instagram a special case compared to other social media? So your introduction sets the stage for your first thematic heading. Then we move to the body. Again, we are thinking of the literature review as a story. So we move to the body. This is where your thematic and chronological structure comes to life. Each major theme becomes a heading. You walk the reader through the story, citing papers not as isolated summaries, but as evident points in your narrative. And when it comes to each paragraph that you are going to state at this point, we use what we call the PEER method. PEER. The P stands for point, the E stands for example, the other E stands for explanation, and R for relevance or return. So this is how you write a paragraph when you are trying to write the body of your literature. For example, the point might be, early research quickly established a correlation between social media exposure and body image issues. You've stated your point. Now, the E part of the P, that is example or evidence. We are now going to give an example to support the previously stated point. For instance, a study by Smith et al. 2015 surveyed 500 teenagers and found that so, and so. Then we move to the next E for that paragraph section, that's explanation. The authors argued that this was due to social comparison theory where individuals evaluate themselves based on others. So you've given an explanation for the prior example you've given, which has also further defined the points earlier given. Then the last part of the PEER method is R, relevance or return. So what is the relevance of all these that you stated? So we might give a line that says this foundational work confirmed the initial hypothesis and prompted researchers to investigate the specific content driving these comparisons. So after doing all this, you get to the conclusion, which is where you synthesize and look forward. So you first summarize the main story. For example, the evidence shows the field has moved from establishing a link to understanding toxic cultures and is now dealing with the interventions. Then you state the limitations clearly and the future directions. Be bold. Something like, however, current interventions fails to address the algorithmic nature of content delivery. Future research must therefore partner with tech companies to study how platform design itself can be modified to reduce the harm on the mental health of adolescents. And that's it. It's as simple as that. You've gone from a terrifying broad idea to a sharp, insightful literature review. So remember the journey. Find a micro topic, hunt for the core papers without perfectionism. Organize them by the theme and the time. Tell the story out loud and then write with the PEER method. This is a process that respects your time and your intelligence. So go ahead and build that library because I believe in you. You've got this.